Since 2003, this is The Sports Source with your host, John Pennington.
The Sports Source is presented by Junk Be Gone, Pipe Wrench, and the Garza Law Firm.
The Sports Source starts now.
How about that for a rebound? Get it? They played Kentucky, a basketball term. Tennessee, welcome into the Sports Source here in the Junk Be Gone studio. Tennessee wins 56-34 yesterday. We wondered last week how they would bounce back after the loss at Alabama, getting up for a team you usually beat, usually a close game in Lexington. Well, they got up pretty well, and it was not a close game in Lexington this year. Tennessee throws for 396 yards. Great game for Joey Aguilar. He's unbelievably accurate on the deep balls yesterday. 3 receivers over 100 yards each. First time you scored 50 against an SEC foe since 2022. Big night. We'll talk about all those positives. Yes, we'll talk about the negatives on the defensive side. Is the defense actually getting worse? And we'll talk about the playoffs, because literally the playoffs for Tennessee start next week. You got an elimination game with Oklahoma, and it's going to be another night game, much to my chagrin, and they're going to be wearing a dark mode uniform, much to my chagrin, but we'll discuss all of it. Let's get into it. First segment brought to you by Junk Be Gone. Now through Halloween, that means this week. Rent any dumpster, get 2 extra days free. How good are these folks? Well, so good that they have a 4.9 average out of 5 on Google reviews. In our society, with as many people out there who just live to leave negative reviews on anything, they've got a 4.9 on thousands and thousands of reviews. That's pretty doggone good. It's a good company. I use them. They've always been 5 out of 5 for me. Junkbegone.biz. You'll be very happy if you call these folks. They were the first ones to do it, and they do it the best. If you got to get rid of junk at your home, your office, call Junk Be Gone. All right, let's welcome to the guys I always call when I need somebody to fill in seats on a Sunday show. Right over here, Jimmy Hines. Thanks for being here. Mike Stoll, former Vol captain, VFL. You were a captain, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. He tells me that every week.
He doesn't believe me.
Right over here, Bob Hodge, right down there, VFL Willover Street. Were you a captain?
Yes.
Your last year? There you go. All right.
I believe him.
You were academic All-American too, right?
Yes.
Anyways,
Checkmate. All right.
you win again.
All right. Last week, as I said, we had a discussion over the side table with the VFLs. Would Tennessee have an easier time getting up for Kentucky or Florida or Oklahoma rather than Kentucky? And the answer was, yeah, probably, because you beat Kentucky. It's like, blah, you're going to be, man. They came out, took care of business. The drops went away. They had all kinds of drops the last couple of weeks, didn't yesterday. The deep ball was back. Pass protection was better. Mike, we ripped the coaches when they need ripping, but I thought on this occasion, the players and the coaches, got to give them some credit, because that was you had Oklahoma coming up. That was a quintessential trap game.
It really was, yeah. And I like the way that they came out and they played. I like the fact that you go in and you get a score early, that totally changes the complexion of the game. All of a sudden it takes Kentucky, like, oh, maybe we don't have a chance in this. Then you get the turnover with the tip ball, with the interception. That totally sealed the game pretty much right then and there. You go out and you finish the game. But that's what I really liked, is the fact that, okay, we kept going, we kept grinding, we kept moving things forward. But overall, the way that they came out ready to play, throwing the ball well, Brazel with that touchdown right across the middle. As soon as that happened, I kind of like, because it is Kentucky. They always fight you hard. They're always tough. You always win, basically. But for the most part, that one's like, oh, we're going to win. We're going to move on.
Last 4 games up there have all been decided by 6 points or less.
Yeah, tough games. It's hard to win up there. It's hard to play well up there.
Thoughts on the fact that this team got up and took care of business?
Well, I give him credit for that. Now, I didn't feel as comfortable as Mike when it was 28-21.
Right.
But yeah, I thought that the offense was terrific. The way they completed, 5 passes of at least 35 yards. They averaged 15.2 yards per attempt on passing and almost 9 yards a play. So the offense was terrific. They spread the wealth with the wide receivers. Didn't run the ball well until that very last drive. When they had 8 minutes left, they ran out the clock at that point. But I thought it was an outstanding performance by Aguilar. He was accurate on the deep ball, as you pointed out earlier. He just I thought he played an outstanding game, and so much better than the Alabama performance offensively from Aguilar and from the receivers.
And some of that is
it's competition,
defense
yeah.
versus
That's right,
Alabama's
yeah.
defense,
Yeah.
but still,
Yeah.
give them credit. Gentlemen, your thoughts on Tennessee going up there and whooping the Cats?
I kind of think you got to give coaches credit for what Jimmy just said. You look like you're just going to roll out of there and they're never going to do anything, and then they come back and they cut it to 7. And I think you could have had a little bit of a panicky situation right there. And I thought the fact that Tennessee kept its foot on the gas and just like, okay, you're back within 7, who cares? You're Kentucky, we're going to beat you. I really thought that was a good job of the coaches keeping their players from maybe getting a little bit shaky.
Well, let's just play right off of that with the two of you. That was, everybody, all coaches now, the big things, everybody talks about the middle 8. Oh, the middle 8, the last 4 minutes of the first half, first 4 minutes of the second half. Kentucky has cut it to 28-21. There's 2 minutes to go in the half. You go down. I know there were some questionable play calls there, but it seems, I don't know how many times I've watched one of Heupel's 2-minute drills. It's like, why are you running? You're running, you're eating too much clock. And then they score with 10 seconds left. And it's like, yeah, it was perfect. It was great. Way to handle it. But they did one of those yesterday, wound up scoring with 10 seconds. You then come out to start the second half. They move the ball a little, but you get the stop.
Yeah.
So you then hit, in 2 plays, you hit the Matthews touchdown. So in a 5-minute clockwise span, you go from 28-21 to 42-21, which that decision there with 2 minutes to go and the way they managed that drive, I think that's what you're talking about in terms of keeping your foot on the gas. There was no thought of, let's take it into halftime and regroup.
Yeah. No, and as a matter of fact, you and I were texting back and forth, and I can't say the language I was using when they ran the ball like 3 times and there's under a minute and a half to go and you only have 1 timeout. But you're right. I think I do that every time, and I think about every time Heupel ends up getting points. So I'm just going to shut up about it.
Well,
They'll keep doing it so they score.
You can use that language, just I'll get an FCC fine. Will Overstreet, what did you think about either the middle 8 or the fact that they were ready to play?
I thought the most impressive part was coming out in the second half, because after you've been in a game like that where you can move ball at will, your offense and your team has a tendency at times, especially coming out of the half, to go, we've got these guys, and it kind of takes a step back. So I thought the most impressive thing was the team came out in the second half, stopped Kentucky getting right out there, and then you go and you score that touchdown. So to me, that was the most thing, that not only was this team ready to play at the first half, they were able to keep their competitive level and intensity throughout the game. And that's also a trick that's hard to do at times when you're playing somebody that you know is like, you know, after a few plays, you know the guy across from me, he's not that good. He's not Alabama. And so sometimes you're kind of getting one of those games and you see that drop and kind of feather down in the second half and let the other team come back. But, you know, they kind of turned it up and put it on more in that second half. So I thought that was impressive that the coaching staff and team was focused and ready to go, and I think it showed throughout.
Also, you know, a lot of that goes back to the deep ball. We've said it 1,000 times. Is it the run game that makes this offense go? Is the tempo? It's the deep ball. And you can make anybody that completes 5 bombs in a game is going to look pretty good probably on the scoreboard. So I get that. But at the same time, that's a low percentage play. There's a reason you don't see many teams in America throw 5 of those and complete 5 of those in a game. So I think they deserve a lot of credit for, you know, in some way you could look at that and say, well, their offense boils down to playground football. It's Al Davis and the old thing, just run deep and we'll hit you. But the fact that they've hit it so consistently over the years that we can sit there and know that, well, they've hit 3 today, so that's a win. I mean, it's one of those things you check it off. I thought that was impressive that they can still have an offense that is that effective on that play. I mean, I watched your teammates. You had Alvin Harper, you had Carl Pickens.
Yeah. T.D. Woods, you know.
You hit some deep balls, but it wasn't like this kind of thing.
Yeah, and they didn't take the shots they did, but they took the shots. And I think Tennessee saw something against Kentucky. I think the other thing, too, you mentioned about, and I texted you, is like, what's your thoughts on the first like this? I said, well, let's see how they do in the 2 minutes. Yes, they ran the ball in the 2-minute drill, but when you see them playing the 2-minute drill this time, they're much more, you know, urgency. Get back on the line. They weren't kind of milling around. Oh, let's snap the ball. They got after it, and they really did a good job of that. So I liked that part. And I think the other thing, you talk about closing the game, leaving Joey Aguilar in the game, while that's kind of questionable, it says something like, hey, we're going to finish this dang thing. We're not going to let them come back on us.
That may pop up a little later, I think.
Oh.
We got a 3 up, 3 down segment coming. You never know. Some people might disagree with you.
Another thing, Aguilar was 6 of 6 on deep balls. That's kind of unheard of. The wide receivers were targeted 20 times. They caught 16 passes for 350 yards. That's from your 3 wide receivers. And we've talked about, are they playing too many snaps? But
here's, let me give you a spin on that one.
I know. Well,
here's my spin on that. What happened last night? You had Radarius Jackson available again. You had Ethan Davis available again.
Yeah.
All right. Now Ethan Davis is a tight end, but he looks like a big receiver out there. I just wonder, the deep balls, they didn't throw it over 20 against Alabama. Was that right? Didn't we see that stat last night? You only threw a couple against Arkansas and didn't connect on them. I just wonder if they had pulled back because we're running out of bodies. Last night, you have some more guys available, and all of a sudden you're back to throwing the deep balls everywhere. Just maybe completely wrong, but I just thought that's an interesting twist. A couple of guys are back and available in case, put them in for a breather. Whereas before, you couldn't take the guys out.
Yeah. And put them in against Kentucky's defense.
Yes. Yeah. Again, that's got to go in there. Your thoughts on that? Do you think that had any impact on it, that you had a couple more guys available and all of a sudden the deep balls come back, or no?
Impact on it. I mean, I just think when you go and you look at those numbers of how many plays your receivers are running and how much they're out on the field, whereas back earlier in the Heupel era, I used to complain, why do they keep changing the receivers every time? I mean, leave the guys out there, they're playing well. I think it had a big impact that you can take somebody and say, hey, we're going to let you catch your breath because they completed 6 bombs. Well, that means those guys probably ran more deep routes.
Yes.
And I don't care how good and how in shape you are, eventually it catches up with you.
Can't catch up. But I think we have to also credit Kentucky's secondary. There are a couple times that, they weren't any special routes or anything, and it was just blaze by the guy, and you had 5 yards on it.
So maybe they just looked at it and said, we can blaze by these guys, we can't blaze by Alabama's.
Yeah.
But still, you went from no chances against Bama to 5-6 deep balls against Kentucky. That's a pretty big philosophical change.
Well, and they caught the ball, but it's also a different story when somebody's fresh behind your back going, hey, you better catch that ball or you're going to go sit on the sidelines. It's a lot different when somebody's barking at your hind heels there to take your spot.
Yeah, I mean, we talked last year that Heupel falls into 3 guys, but when I went back and did the numbers we showed on the Saturday show this week, every year he has had 5 or 6 guys with more than 100 pass routes. I'm going by Pro Football Focus numbers. So not just plays, but plays where they had to run a route, a passing play. This year they're on pace to only have 3 guys over 100. But you got 3 guys who are on pace to go 450. He's never had anybody go 450. So instead of, yes, we have a Chaz Nimrod who rotates in for 1 play out of 5, or yes, we've got Caleb Webb who comes in for 1 play out of 6. This year it's basically, okay, Brassel and Matthews and Staley, line up and do it all over again. And I just thought last night you had a couple of guys that you may be able to bring in to use differently, and all of a sudden they start throwing deep again. Anyway, all right, when we come back, so much for the positives. Let's talk defense. Is the defense actually getting worse? We'll discuss that next. We got much more to come, including stayed up late, giving you some incredible stats on tennis, on the SEC and close games. It's going to change the way you look at SEC football, or at least it should. So stick around for that. Come on back on the Sports Wars. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. Temperature is going to start dropping. Winter isn't far away, and if you intend to do a do-it-yourself project on your own this year in the wintertime, you've got to have winter materials. Any kind of building materials you use, it's one thing to build in summer. You need these materials. To build in winter, you need these materials, or else it'll haunt you long term. Makes a difference, and Gordon Hines and his team can make sure you have just the right materials for your project. Not to mention the fact, with 105 years of experience down there, they know how you can get the best out of whatever building materials, tools you have and need, and what they can tell you. They have a great line of expertise to try and help you in terms of answering your questions and getting you going on the right foot with your building project. aghines.com to learn more, or you can visit them downtown Knoxville on Hines Street, A.G. Hines Company. All right, let's welcome in 2 more members of our panel right over here. We have Chuck Cavalaris.
Yes, sir.
And we have Josh Ward. Thanks to the 2 of you for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank
Back
you,
with
sir.
Will Overstreet as well. We see the poll question. Ooh, it's already shifted. Okay, some of you have been online voting already. You can play the QR code. Just take your smartphone, point it at that little squiggly thing underneath the Hearthside Bank logo. And the question, Vols are 6-2 with 4 games left. How will they finish? When I came in here this morning, it said 8-4, so it shifted a little bit. I want to know what you think. The majority right now says 9-3. Tennessee would go 3-1 from this point out. In the majority's opinion, 39%. Or that's not the That's a plurality. How do you look at that? I wasn't good in math. 24% of you say 10-2, and then 8-4 is 26%. Not many of you picking 7-5 at this point. All right, play along and let us know what you think, gentlemen. I'm not just talking about one game here. I'm talking about the overall feel.
Yeah.
It may not just be, oh no, the yards passing per game has done this. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about looking at it, because looking at it last night, that defense did not look good. So I'm going to start over here because you'll just influence them if I start with you. So I'll start with you guys. Is this defense getting worse, in your opinion?
Chuck?
Josh passes it off.
Well, the impression last night was against a Kentucky offense that doesn't really strike fear in your heart, right?
Yep.
They were without their top running back, getting about 80 yards a game.
Who also averaged receiving yards a game.
Exactly.
He's like 95 yards a game in terms of total offense.
I mean, here's the thing with me. I think the last time I looked, you rank 110th in the country in scoring defense. You're a very poor tackling team. And you've lost your inside linebacker, Arian Carter, who's the leading tackler in the SEC. So, no, I mean, I think they are getting worse in certain key areas. And, you just hope you can do better than limit the opponent to 30 points a game and outscore them.
Well, and you need guys, if you're going to be that bad at defense, you also need to continue to make big plays. And kudos to Idris Farouk last night.
Right.
That was a heck of a play.
Yeah.
That was not an easy play to make, and then to take it back to the house the way he did. But that is the 5th defensive touchdown of the year for Tennessee. We know where they rank with a lot of sacks. They've had a lot of tackles for losses. So they do make the big play. They are aggressive. They do make some big plays. There are teams that are going to go this whole season to not get 5 touchdowns on defense.
Yeah.
But overall, Chuck says they are getting worse. How do you feel about that, Josh?
Yeah, and the 5th touchdown, that's tied for the nation's lead
Yeah.
with Louisiana Tech. So they're making those big plays. Last week they gave up 2 90-plus yard drives, only 1 last night.
Hey!
So that's better. I think Tennessee's settling into what it is. It is a defense that's going to make big plays, and that can help swing a game back. If you give up yards, you give up scores. If you can then create some points or opportunities for your offense, that can make some of that up. But it's just, I think it's going to be a defense that's really frustrating because they are having the issues with getting guys to the ground, and at this point, it's asked to Josh Heupel again after the game, okay, what do you need to do to fix the tackling issues? And he comes back to fundamentals. We're having this conversation entering November.
Yeah.
So it says to me that Tennessee, it's boom or bust, it's feast or famine in what this defense is.
You talk about big plays and swing a game. Without the defense's 2 touchdowns at Mississippi State, you don't go to overtime and go back and win that game. So yeah, it's big. Will, let me before we get into the is this defense getting worse, I'll spin off something that Josh just said. Marlon Walls this week on our Saturday show. If you aren't watching our pregame show, 11 o'clock on Saturdays, you need to. But Marlon pointed out, we asked him, how do you fix tackling at this point in the season? He said, well, you got to go have some serious practices. He said the problem is when you don't have depth, it's not easy to go have those kind of practices because you can get somebody hurt. So, yes, there is a fix for it. He said, I've been on a couple of those teams where you go through a tackling camp in November and you work your tails off and it's a hard-hitting practice. But you got to have depth to do it, and we don't have the depth. Your thoughts on that, and then what you think about this defense?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Marlon. I think it also is just it's in certain places and positions that I really look at it more so. So you got your cornerbacks and you got your safeties. Anytime it gets to the outside, we are not good in space. And we're not good in space because, frankly, those guys are not the best tacklers on our team. So I think it's not just, hey, do you need more tackling and that kind of thing? Because I do think what Marlon said is true. You can go out and work on tackling, but you're going to take you're going to take the chance that I'm going to lose somebody, if not more than one person, and then where am I at? What is the next guy behind him? And if you're sitting there going, well, if I lose that guy, it gets seriously downgrade, then I'm not going to take that chance. And I think they have to look and say, what are we? And right now, like I said, I think in the defensive line, you've got some linebackers that can make some plays and tackles. The problem is every team, if you look at how Alabama or anybody attacks us, how do we get the ball to the edge on this guy in space that can make a few guys, has a little side movement and wiggle? And that's what we're going to get, and that's who they're attacking. They're attacking the safeties and corners because when those guys have to come up to support on a run play, that's where you have problems. If somebody tries to keep it between the tackles, and we got D ends and D tackles and linebackers, Kentucky had some struggles. I mean, they had a couple plays that popped a little bit, but they were getting tackles for loss on the inside. It's when you get to the edge right now, and it's just, is it tackling and ability, or is it, hey, we don't have the guys we need and the people that we need. We got one that's playing for Miami right now, and we got 2 guys that aren't playing at all. And I think that at the end of the day, if we talk about the next man up, well, you have to have the next man up with that ability. And right now, I don't think you have that same level of guy that's playing back there. You don't have another first-round pick, all SEC type player. You're missing that, and that's where you're having problems.
And I mean, that's also changed in the whole portal thing, because there used to be a day when you could stockpile. Look at Georgia, for example. They could just stockpile talent. You can't do that anymore. And you look at, if you lose your top 2 corners, and you then say, well, okay, we'll go to our third corner. Well, your third corner is probably your fourth corner, because your real third corner left to go somewhere else and start in the portal. So it trickles down to where if you're playing a 4th string guy, probably would have been a 5th or 6th string guy if not for this portal back in the day.
Right.
So I think that's tough in terms of these bodies. Do you see? I mean, I think at this point the answer is obvious, but I'll let you guys tell me. You're going to have to win games 55-45 moving forward, aren't you? This last month, I know not New Mexico State, you're not going to do that, but your best odds are trying to go out there and just drag your defense across the finish line.
Well, I think Coach Heupel, he basically wants to turn it into a track meet, right? I mean, that's the feeling I had. How many times do you see Kentucky had a redshirt freshman quarterback pass for 330 yards? They had a true freshman receiver catch over 100 yards. I don't know how many times you see that happen. Sometimes, Tennessee, I mean, they didn't even have a chance. They didn't even touch them on the play. And it's a long touchdown play. So you talk missing tackles, and then sometimes you're not even in position to.
Wasn't that the one where he just kind of went down the sideline untouched?
Yeah, and then Book Carter gets burned too. But I mean, sometimes you're not even in position to make the tackle, and when you are in position to make the tackle, you don't make the tackle.
And it was crazy because that guy was getting the ball out so quick. You had guys coming back there. If that's a traditional quarterback holding the ball, we'd had 6 sacks in that game. But he was just throwing dink and duck routes. And like I said, that's the key right now. If I'm going against us and I'm the offensive coordinator, I'm getting my best guy with the most wiggle out in space and saying, can I get him on a corner or safety? And I've got a chance to win right now. So they've got to change that and figure out something. I just don't know if you're right that you have got to say this offense has to come up with 35-plus points or we're done.
I think that's where you are. I think it's back to the 2022 season. When we come back, we all knew it, but Tennessee offensive coordinator Joey Halzle admitted it to ESPN. We'll tell you what he admitted when we come back. It's a tease. Come on back. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Elkmont Station. If you're looking for a unique dining experience, folks, you need to head to West Knoxville, right off Campbell Station Road. Elkmont Station is the place for you. You can also visit their website, elkmontstationknox.com. Crafty food and drink. They are always updating their menu. It's constantly changing with unique flavors, all of it, of course, from local farms here in East Tennessee. Elkmont Station. Visit them once. You'll go back again and again, I promise you. Okay. Let's take a look at the Heupel keys, and there we go. He hit on 4 of them last night. Score, let me get where I can read this. Score 30 points or more. They did that, so they're now 39-3 in that area. Rush for 3 touchdowns or more. When he does that, undefeated. 26-0 when they run for 3 touchdowns. Complete 65% of the passes or better, 23-5. Commit 8 penalties or fewer. They improved to 29-6, so they hit about half of their keys. And that was enough for a big win at Lexington last night. Let's welcome in the next members of our panel. Right down there, VFL offensive lineman Ollie Lane, right next to VFL offensive lineman Mike Stoll. And the 2 guys they would be protecting would be VFL quarterback Sterling Hinton.
Yes,
Sterling,
sir.
thanks for being here.
Good to be here, John P.
Another
It's
awesome
beginning
coach.
to look a lot like Christmas.
It does look like that. It does look like that.
It's like a present.
I like that.
All right.
Pearl's a present.
We talked about this going to break. It's funny. UT coaches never say anything to the local media. They always save it up, and then when ESPN comes to town, it's, hey, yeah, I've got a hernia. You wouldn't believe. I mean, just tell them anything. Just tell them all kinds of stuff. So they went open book yesterday with Cole Kublik. They quoted Joey Halzle as saying these deep throws used to be open in Heupel's offense when we first brought it here. Now we're having to create them. It's not earth-shattering, but for those who are wondering, what's happened to the offense? We said it last year. Opposing defenses have figured out we're just going to drop 8 and sit back here. We're not going to worry about your run anymore. If you can run it and take 10 plays to run it down the field without having a penalty with your offense, good luck. Whereas the first couple of years, they were freaking out. Do we go light? Do we go heavy? That stopped. And that's why, and credit Heupel and his crew for going out. Ollie, they took this offense, and they kind of really tweaked it this offseason where it's almost a whole new offense. But I thought it was interesting. You had Joey Halzle, your old offensive coordinator, talking about the fact that these throws used to be open. Now we're having to coach them open.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to that. It's that cat and mouse game. You always got to have an answer to their answer, and then you continue to have another answer to their answer. So, I mean, it's always a credit to these guys and this coaching staff. They do hard, deep dives into the film every single year, see what they can do differently, pull stuff from different areas in the league. And so they do a really good job at changing things. But I also like, you add in Seth Luttrell and Jim Chaney in that scheme as well, to get some outside noise, which is something they haven't done a lot. They don't like outside noise. They feel like if you're in the system, you're in the family, then we'll keep and listen to you, but they don't listen to a lot of the outside. They've done that this year, and I think it's begin to show promise into what they can put out there on the field, because, I mean, the fact is people will wise up to what you want to do, and I'm sure if they wanted to, they would still try to spread everybody out and throw it deep every single time. But, I mean, this goes directly into one of my keys for this game. You got to get creative with your playbook. Find some different avenues to get guys active in the passing game.
You were calling for more Ethan Davis this
week,
and he got healthy.
He came in a big way. And then, I mean, I love using Staley on a swing pass and different things. And what you saw a lot of in this game, too, is it allowed opportunities for yak. We haven't had a lot of yak out of our wide receivers, and it feels like a while. And you saw that in a big way last night.
Fans have yacked a couple of times, but I was watching the defense. Okay, Sterling, what he mentioned, the cat and mouse game, the back and forth. I think there was a little bit of that was going on. First month of the season, this offense looked great. Now, granted, take into account part of that was UAB and East Tennessee State, but you look good against Power 5 opponents that first month. It's like, wow, look at this. And you actually heard coaches and other staff saying, well, we expected to be the veer and shoot, and they're doing something else here. Then the last few weeks, it had kind of gone. It dialed it down a little. It had slowed a little bit. The offense was not flying at that high pace, and I think you had a bit of, okay, defenses have seen it. Now we know, Aguilar likes to do this, and they like to go over here on this down. Let's take that away. So now you're having to adjust back, and I think Tennessee, you saw Chris Brazzell being open again last night. Again, it may be Kentucky's DBs, but you saw Brazzell open again last night. You see them get a little bit more creative with Ethan Davis, with the Staley swing pass. I think they are now reacting to what the defense has reacted to.
Absolutely, and that's something that, we got to remember. We're Tennessee, and we love Tennessee, but other teams are scouting us also. So they know Joey Aguilar jumped into our offense. No one knew what he would do. And all of a sudden he does what he did, and then now he's got to find a way to recreate himself and get back to the way we loved him in September. But the beautiful thing I saw yesterday, and I know we talked about his Kentucky DBs, but we had receivers do it against Georgia's DBs. They threw the ball down the field to throw the receivers open. I like that 50-50 ball, in the 20-yard area. But when you
as
get
a guy who
the
played
field,
with Pickens and Harper, I'm not surprised.
Sling that thing and let them go get it, baby.
Yeah.
We leaving,
yeah.
and they gonna go get it. We got some guys that can go get it, and they showed last night. I mean, a couple of times, we beat the Kentucky DBs, but they were in good position when the ball was thrown. They ran and got that thing, baby. Let them go get it, and we caught it. We caught the ball.
No
we had some key drops in the Alabama game that could have maybe changed momentum for us. So I'm incredibly proud of the offense. Do it again, man. Do it again.
Mike, there was a lot of talk last night. Cole Kubelik was going on and on and on about the new blocking schemes. They went to the NFL. They talked to the Browns coaches. They talked to the Chiefs coaches. They came up with pull protection. And you were over there. Your thoughts on all the talk that was going on about pull protection last night?
Yeah, so, I mean, again, Tennessee at first when they came out with Heupel's system was spread everybody wide, and the defenses were challenged to adjust to it. They really didn't quite understand it. You play against that a couple times, you're like, okay, I understand what their schemes are. And so Tennessee has had to reinvent and make some tweaks and changes. The pulling thing, so now you've got a situation where, okay, well, we're just going to keep everything in front of us. We react to run. The pull thing is you pull that guard, you pull him over, you're blocking it. It looks run, so you're going to hold your guys. That gives your receivers a chance to get a step. And that's like Sterling was talking about, throwing the guy open. That first step forward, you're going to lose because you're getting beat by that receiver running wide open. So those are the things that they make the tweaks, the changes. Now, the challenge with that scheme is sometimes you're leaving a running back blocking a defensive end coming and crashing hard. So I think Oklahoma's going to see that. What tweaks and changes do we have? Because that front for Oklahoma is pretty doggone good, so you better adjust to it quickly.
Tell you what, we'll talk about that and what you thought about the offensive line and David Sanders when we come back. And we'll talk to you, and we'll bring Jimmy Himes back out here, and we're going to talk about if Tennessee could get more from Ethan Davis, Ty Redmond, or Boo Carter, who do you take more from? We'll discuss that. Come on back on the Sports Source. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Folks, I had these guys out to my home just a couple weeks ago to do the fall invader treatment. And before they got there, I saw a stink bug. Since they did the fall invader treatment, I have not seen airy stink bug, airy ladybug, or airy box elder bug. And I just like saying airy or nary. Either one works. But I haven't seen airy one, there's nary one out there. Southeast Termite and Pest Control, they take great care of my home. These are good people, family-owned business. The Haynes folks are just tremendous. They've been doing it since 1971. I can't give you a higher recommendation than to say give them a call, talk to them, you're going to love them. Southeast Termite and Pest Control, southeasttermite.com. All right, let's remind you of the poll, see where that thing's standing. Whoa! Look at that. All it took was a win over Kentucky, and the positive Pete's of the world have come out. So 10-2 is what the majority are now saying. 38% say 10-2, 32% say 9-3, 27% say 8-4, only 3% say 7-5. Is that Bob's? You got his phone? Yeah, that's it. But you've got what, 38 and 32, so 70% of the people think you're going to win at least 9 games this year. Okay, finished at least 3-1, maybe 4-0. This is cover 2. It means we got 2 questions, one for each pair of guys. I will start with Jimmy and Sterling. If you could get more on offense, you tell me, you get one of these. You can only take one, and you tell me why. You can get more from Ethan Davis on offense, or you can get more from Ty Redmond on defense, or you can get more from Boo Carter on special teams. Which one are you taking? Which is more important?
Ty Redmond.
Yeah.
And the big reason is which unit needs the most help. Your wide receivers were very productive, whether Ethan Davis was producing or not. Because Kitzelman had 22 catches, Davis had 1. So the receivers are doing extremely well, even without him. And your defense can't force enough punts to make Boo Carter relevant. So you've got to have more help on defense. Your secondary is not very good. He's got to step up. He's also got to tackle, too.
Yeah.
But I think it's Redmond.
You know, and I love him, and I'm following Jimbo. This is Ty Redmond, and the thing about the Ty Redmond's defense, he had all Americans that were ahead of him that could have showed him the way. He's a true freshman, not a redshirt. He was in high school last year this time, so he's got used to this pace of the game. He's an incredible athlete. He'll get better, but no one showed him game time adjustments at that hard position of corner. And I think once we do get more out of him, which is going to happen, oh, baby, I think defense goes up 3 levels.
I think people have to look at him the way they looked at Darnell Wright. When he got here, you're like, well, he's overrated. And then he got better every single year and wound up being, I don't know if he'll be a first-round draft pick, Ty Redmond.
I hope he will.
But certainly you have to improve every year. Go ahead.
Alontae Taylor.
Alontae Taylor. That's why I'm going Alontae Taylor.
At the right
Same
position.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I will disagree with the two of you because I think the defense is too far gone to save. I go Ethan Davis. I think you need, if you're going to win games 45-44, and I think that's probably what you're facing, then I want more options on offense, especially with a limited receiving core. I get what you're saying. I think that's because it's the obvious.
My God.
It's the obvious. For a deep thinker,
My God.
I'm thinking 4D here.
You're going too deep.
That's right. Yeah. So no, I do think that the defense is. I don't know that one man can make that big of a difference on that defense. It's so bad in the back end. So I'm going to go Ethan Davis because I do think you're going to have to win with offense. So give me more weapons on offense. All right.
I like him though.
Let's see what we got here. Just tell me there is no question. It's just your thoughts on the offensive line last night. Pass protection was much better than it was against Alabama. Again, who you playing? Mm-hmm. But the run offense was right up until the last drive. thoughts on the O-line, Ollie, and if you guys want to focus on David Sanders, you can there.
Yeah, I mean, well, first off and foremost, I'm glad that David Sanders is in that starting lineup. I think that's probably where he belongs. Obviously, heard some of the comments that he made after the game. I get it. With the injury and the situation that he was in, you don't want to have him have too many extended snaps and re-injure whatever was going on with him. But I think now it's at a point in time, look, you're fully healthy. We got 4 games left in this season. We're going to roll out. We need to roll out the crew that we had at the beginning of the season.
And there was less rotation last night than there was against Alabama, which
I think that's what hurt us in Alabama. I think that's what, in turn, they made the offensive line look like the weak spot when they probably really weren't. I think what this offensive line has done this season is spectacular. I mean, they've done a really good job of the number one important job, and that's making Joey comfortable. Joey looks comfortable when he's back there in the pocket, a lot more comfortable than Nico ever did. There are a lot of times you can point to situations where Nico versus Joey, Nico would break his feet, break his composure in that pocket a lot faster than Joey will. Joey's okay with feeling everything somewhat kind of collapsing in on him, but still being able to keep his composure to deliver the pass.
True sophomore versus a 38-year-old man.
Exactly.
I mean, he's 24. How old are you?
Yeah, 25. So I mean,
okay, so practically you're so that makes a difference.
Yeah, it does. It's that maturity and that level of being in the league. You know your offensive line's not always going to give you a perfect pocket to pass out of, but making the most of the opportunity that you have, that's something that this offensive line has given that trust into Joey.
Mike, your thoughts on the O-line?
I thought Sanders is definitely the right solution. Perry sliding in and playing guard, he's not – it's an adjustment, right? Mm-hmm. I think he plays as a tackle. You can play higher leverage. You can play taller. As a guard inside, you got to play leverage. I think he was a little bit soft. When I say soft, you get hit, your foot goes back. That doesn't happen. Sanders did very well. I am concerned – and I saw as the game went on, and they're going to see this on film against Oklahoma. His feet, he has a tendency to kind of start to give up a short corner.
Which one?
Sanders.
Sanders,
right? So start to give up a short corner. So if I'm a defensive end, I'm going to go out wide and I'm going to come crashing hard because I don't know if he's going to get there. So watch that this week, how he adjusts that, if he can get out, if he can move, because he gets his feet a little bit closer. That tendency allows you to turn, give up a short corner. That concerns me a little bit because Oklahoma's going to see that on film. And again, Oklahoma's best product is their defensive line.
Yep, they lead they had 1 sack yesterday, but they went into that game leading the SEC in sacks and leading the SEC in pass defense which A goes with B. So that is one that's going to be a big challenge for Tennessee's offensive line next week. When we come back, who are the 3 best and 3 worst from that game? We'll do 3 up, 3 down. We've still got some remarkable SEC stats for you. We'll talk about Tennessee's playoff chances. We'll look ahead to Oklahoma, make predictions, and we'll also play ... with a whole lot of different teams, players, maybe even some baseball and basketball thrown in. Come on back. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat because they have an unbelievable selection of boats. Crevalle, Skeeter, G3, Hurricane deck boats. They've got pontoon boats, Sweetwater. They've got there's another pontoon boat that I'm forgetting, Suncatcher pontoons. The trick is, when you go to Madisonville Marine, it's not just, you go to most boat dealers, it's like, well, we're going to look for fishing boats. Oh, well, I want to look at pontoon boats. Okay, well, we'll go over here. Madisonville Marine, you got them all. All. One lot, one showroom. Get down there, Highway 411 North in Madisonville this week. Talk to Joe Special and his team. Good people. Okay.
Sunshine Sterling. Willie Rain Club. It's time for 3 up, 3 down. This is the Sports Source.
It is the Sports Source. It is 3 up, 3 down. That looked, I don't know if that just our monitor or that looked huge. That didn't look like the right resolution, so I'll have to kill someone after the show. Probably something I sent in wrong. So. Vols, there's your final poll. 10-2.
Yeah.
The majority of fans, 38%.
How many times you been voting?
38% were. 38% of you think Tennessee's going to go undefeated the rest of the way. Now, mind you, last week after the Alabama game, 76% of you said this team was underperforming. So It's all what happened last night. Thanks for playing along. We appreciate it. Okay, we need to make up some time here.
Righty.
So 3 up, 3 down. Let's go to Team Sunshine first. Who are your 3 ups?
My first up is Joey Aguilar, our quarterback. Our quarterback did an incredible job distributing the football. He had 3 receivers over 100 yards yesterday. Incredible ball placement. I love the 2-minute drill he ran. Got some deep ones done. Joey Aguilar is number 1 on this list.
All right, he's got number 1, Joey Aguilar. Who's number 2?
I've got inside linebacker Edwin Spillman, where he took over for Arian Carter. The stats I saw, John, were 13 solo, 2 assists.
I like it.
I saw 15 total, yeah.
Here's my question. If he doesn't make those 13 solo, who's going to make them?
Fair enough.
But he did make But he did make them.
All right, who's the 3 up?
My last one is a position that doesn't get much glory. I'm going with our center. Our center got the ball to our quarterback accurately. He blocked well, did not give up a sack, and helped out on some blocking schemes to other linemen. Our center, Mr. Sam's, great job.
You're throwing a bouquet because last week you had the bad snap.
No!
You didn't like us putting him on the 3 down last week.
What's incredible,
That's what
John?
that was.
That's a great John Pierre, but I'm just, in this game, he played an incredible game and give him some flowers.
That's good. Now, it's one of those games where you had a bunch of guys who could be on the up list, so I'm going to throw out some more.
Okay.
Braylon Staley and Chris Brazzell both had great games, but one guy you've been waiting to have another big game, Mike Matthews.
Yeah.
6 catches, 107 yards, a touchdown, good for him. Idris Farouk bats it, intercepts it, returns it. That you don't see many of those plays in your lifetime where one guy makes all 3 of those things happen. So credit to him. I think we covered everybody else. That's it. So your receivers and Idris Farouk, I would throw in top of Aguilar, Spillman, and Sam Pendleton. All right, now let's turn it around and go with the negative Nellies over here. We had the positive Pete's, now the negative Nellies. What do you got, Vultures?
Yeah, the first one I have to go with Boo Carter. Just that long touchdown play. Boo, I believe, is faster than that. I believe he shut it down. And in a day and age when you see so many guys do something stupid and drop the ball before they get there or something or slow it down, you got to go play through the play. And I just don't believe that's his best play or what he's capable of doing. And so I believe he shut it down on that play. And that you just can't have that. You know, defense is struggling. You got to go all out in every single play.
He also had there was a missed tackle that they showed last night that was this is one of your best tacklers from a year ago.
Yeah. Yes.
And it was not good
I
last
talked
night.
about all last year what a great tackler he was. Yeah.
It went to his
Things
head,
change.
Bob. It's your fault. Okay, who's the second down?
Mike Stoll's going to disagree with this, but I'm going to go Josh Heupel for putting Joey Aguilar back on the field with 6 minutes and something to go. He threw 2 passes. Both of them were kind of right at or behind the line of scrimmage, and the rest of the time he handed off. Now, this wouldn't be about getting your backup experience. It would be things happen. Guys are flopping around on the ground. You get a leg rolled up. You step wrong on the grass and you pop something. I would just as soon seen him put in bubble wrap and taken out at that point.
This team has been driven by Joey Aguilar this year. I mean, you can say Chris Brazzell is very important, but if something happens to Aguilar, you're done. Yep. You're done. No offense to Merklinger, McIntyre, you're done. It's over.
Much like my positivity about Boo Carter, my negativity about him is also probably something that should be erased from the videotape.
Yeah, I would have not left him in there as long as he was last night. Will Overstreet, who's the third down?
Well, Tennessee scored a lot of points, and they scored a lot of points on the road. But this wasn't a traditional road crowd. I think you have to give the down to the Kentucky Wildcat fan base because basically at the end of the day, this was a neutral site game. You could hear it through the TV. Those stadium was not full. So, I don't know what they're going to do with Stoops, but I think the Kentucky fan base is starting to make their votes with their feet and not coming to their seats. And so I think at this point, that made it a game that, for all practical purposes, you could do anything. You could hear people, and they could make their calls like they wanted.
Well, we always talk and always talked about the fact how difficult it is for this offense when they're on the road, when there's noise. We saw how it looked. It did not look as good at Mississippi State with the Cowbells. We didn't see it look great against Alabama on the road. Traditionally, it's not looked great on the road. It's looked pretty good on neutral site games. I mean, you nailed it. They turned it into a neutral site game last night. It's hard for me to blame Kentucky fans, though, with the product they're seeing right now. But, I had someone send me a photo today. We didn't have a chance to make a graphic of it, but they had a Kentucky fan there in a bag with his over his head last night that I missed during the game, but said catastrophe, C-A-T. All right. When we come back, let's play our newest game, ... We'll talk a little, we'll talk baseball, basketball, you name it, and a whole lot of football. Come on back. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Hearthside Bank. Folks, I grew up in Middlesboro. I can tell you there are a lot of happy Vol fans up there. They got bragging rights for another year, taunting rights, if you will. That is a split town. It's also the home of Hearthside Bank. And when it comes to bragging rights and local banking, Hearthside Bank is the bank for East Tennesseans and Southeastern Kentuckians to turn to. It's been there since 1920. Hearthsidebank.com to learn more. These are good people. Personal banking. Yes, they do business banking. Yes, they do personal banking. But in terms of personal, one-on-one, dealing with you, and you don't feel like you're dealing with, well, a telescreen, Hearthside Bank is where you need to go. Member FDIC. I've always wanted to say that. Okay, let's take a look at the quarterback comparison. Yeesh. Nico had gone on a winning streak, but Indiana, my goodness, what a whooping they put on them. And I thought it was interesting. I looked up, he had a knee injury going into the game, but he played. And then Cole Kubelik last night during the broadcast said, I don't know how much more he's going to play this year.
Right.
Which, what have I missed? Is there?
I think he re-injured it late in the game. That's what I saw.
I didn't see that. I went looking for it this morning, and I didn't see anything.
Right.
But okay.
Well, in other words, Daddy shut him down for the year.
Well, the reason I mentioned is we might not have many more of these. I'm not just going to keep it up there if he's
not playing.
Dead. All right. So very good. We're going to do a segment we call ... I throw out a player, a coach, a team, or some random thought. These guys then repeat it back to me in the form of a declaration. And we'll start with Bob Hodge. Mark Stoops, ...
Mark Stoops will be looking back fondly at his time at Kentucky in just a few weeks.
So
I think he's, he was good for 8 wins a year. That kept his job up at Kentucky. They were happy with it. He's not doing that now. So I think the clock is ticking down to the end.
Knew he was doomed when he tried to go to Texas A&M and they backed out on him.
Yeah.
And he had to go back and I'm choosing to return. Yeah. No, you're doomed.
Isn't there a coach that gets fired every Sunday when we're doing the show?
Yes. Yeah. Maybe him. Maybe it's like 3 straight weeks. Josh, no, actually, who have I got next? Jimmy.
Oh.
Vanderbilt's defense, ...
Vanderbilt's defense is much more physical and athletic than I ever thought it would be. They are really good.
They've knocked Lenore Sellis and Bo Pribula out of games.
Yes, and they are savages.
Savages. So it is this is not just Diego Pavia.
Right.
Yes. There's more to this team than just Diego Pavia.
That's right.
Okay. Next, Josh. The SEC permanently suspended an official ...
The SEC permanently suspended an official, and he should not be the only one. Now, I want to say that...
Wow!
This is not just in the SEC, by the way. I would not want to be an official. It looks incredibly difficult, but it has not been a banner year for officiating. Every week, there have been conversations about missed calls, questions about what are they seeing and happening in yesterday and over the weekend. So it's been a bad year for officiating in the SEC and around the country.
All right, so Josh is supportive of that draconian measure. Okay, Chuck Cavalaris.
Yes, sir.
LSU football ...
LSU football has realized Brian Kelly was a $100 million mistake that never should have been hired there in the first place.
That is a very strong run-on sentence. I like it. It's good. Yeah, they were chanting "Fire Kelly" last night at Tiger Stadium.
And he said his future is no longer in his hands.
The interesting thing there, the AD there is the same AD who hired Jimbo Fisher to Texas A&M. He hired Chris Peterson to Washington, who was good. Didn't turn them into Boise State as they'd hoped. The AD at LSU right now is the guy all fans would want. He goes and gets the big splashy name, and then it doesn't work. Okay. Next, Bob Hodge. Lane Kiffin ...
Lane Kiffin will be looking back fondly at his time at Ole Miss in just a few weeks. From the number that I've heard that is going to be out there, it's something like $13 million a year if he goes to Florida. I just don't think Ole Miss is in a position to match that. And interesting stat, real quick. Ole Miss, in 55 years before Lane Kiffin got there, went 6-1 4 times. Since Lane Kiffin's been there, they've gone 6-1 4 times. But I just don't think they will be able to come up with that kind of money.
True. And as a Lane Kiffin detester, I will point out they sure didn't finish with 1 loss. He starts hot. He may finish it this year that way. All right. Jimmy Himes, Vol basketball expectations. ...
Vol basketball expectations are at minimum to get to the Elite Eight and being on the cusp of a Final Four.
And they start their, it's an exhibition game, but everybody, if you beat Duke, everybody's going to count it like it's a real game.
Yeah.
And if they lose, everybody's going to say, it's just an exhibition.
Tennessee will count it as a real game, too.
That's right. It'll be on their website, yeah. So Tennessee Duke this afternoon. Josh, give you another Josh. Josh Elander, ...
Josh Elander is the people's choice. He was the choice of the current players, the former players, people behind the scenes, fans. I don't know that we've seen this percentage of people all together wanting one person in Josh Elander. So I think it was the right choice by Danny White, and we'll see what the results are. But Josh Elander has been an important person that hasn't gotten a ton of recognition because Tony Vitello was the head coach, who understands what's happened so far and how they can keep it going.
It would have been a heck of a decision if he had gone against every who's saying it's got to be Elander.
Yeah.
That would, because this is the first time Danny White's felt any kind of pressure, right?
If you had that as a poll question, it'd be 98% Elander.
Which I wish Josh Elander the best, and I also, for his sake, hope Tony Vitello does well with San Francisco, because this fan base has been known to write petitions to bring back guys they like when they're available. I would be concerned about that.
Strong Josh presence on the hill. I think that's a positive.
Chuck, Danny White, ...
Danny White went from being a villain to being a tremendous hero in the span of 3 days.
It went hero to villain to hero, back to hero.
Yeah. I mean, all the way through, and especially, and like we said, the stakes, I don't think could have been higher to get this right. If you would have brought in a coach from the outside with everything going on with that stadium and ticket prices and everything else, that would have been a disaster.
Okay.
You'd have lost a lot of players, too, wouldn't you?
Yes. That would have been a bigger disaster.
All right, when we come back, our VFLs talk playoff race, and I'm going to show you some numbers. It's time to start thinking about SEC games differently. If you're walking around going, well, they only beat that team by blank. We only beat this team by blank. Blank has changed. And I'll blank and show you how. Come on back. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Al Wilson's hard-hitting tea, a legendary player from a legendary team, now with his own legendary hard tea. Number 27 himself, Al Wilson, created a drink to match his tastes, and you can learn more about it at hardhittingtea.com. As always, drink responsibly. I had a taste of this. Very good. Very good. Al Wilson's hard-hitting tea, hardhittingtea.com. All right, take a look here. It's time to look at some SEC games differently. Mike Stoll last night sent me a note saying, this was early. So we're letting Kentucky hold close, and that bothers me. And it got me thinking. So I went back and started looking at all the games, just SEC versus SEC over the last few years, thinking, well, can we still look at it that way? Well, actually, I was just thinking, how can I prove Mike wrong? So what I found was the average margin of victory in 2021 in an SEC game, 15.5 points. 15.8 in 2022. 16.3 points was your average margin of victory. Was 16-point win in 2023. It was 2 touchdowns last year. It's 10 points right now. And until Texas A&M and Tennessee blew their opponents out last night, it was 9 points. We've never seen SEC games this close. In fact, 1-score games, that means 8 points or less. In 2021, you had 23 in 56 total games. You had 22, 17. You had 22 in 64 total games last year. You've had 21 one-score games in just 37 total games this year. That is 57% of SEC versus SEC games ending in a one-score game. I just think it's time we all start realizing that, well, they only beat Auburn by 6. Hey, just be impressed somebody beat Auburn. Be impressed. We only beat State by 3. Take the win, be happy. That is a huge statistical change. All right, take a look here at the SEC playoff outlook. Teams are also bunched together in the standings. You have right now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 teams, 6-2 or better. Tennessee and Oklahoma, they're going to play in a de facto playoff game this week at Neyland Stadium, dark mode Saturday night, and the loser is out of the playoff race. I want to see if what our VFLs think about Tennessee's playoff odds now. Will Overstreet, what do you think about the Volunteers' chances of making the playoff for a second straight year?
Well, yeah, it's a little hard to come up with this job, but I think at this point, if we're looking at it and you're saying, I still got to play Oklahoma, I still got to play Vanderbilt, and I still have to play Florida at Florida, I'm putting on a very slow scale here, and I think we have about a 10% chance to actually reach the playoffs because you've got to go undefeated through this. So I give it a possibility, but it's a long uphill battle that I don't see a whole lot of great chances across. What about you, Ollie?
I think you still have a good possibility to make that reach if you want to. The only two issues I have, and you pointed one out, you still got to go to Gainesville. Gainesville, we haven't won since 2003. It's an incredible, hard place to win at, and plus you don't look good on the road. So that's where I add in the factors. Well, that's maybe be the next loss that's coming down the road. Then also, too, a lot of this is going to come down to the eye test. Right now, other than Kentucky, our eye test to me does not look as impressive as you'd want it to. And so I think coming down the end of the line, you're going to have a lot of these one-loss, two-loss teams in the SEC. The eye test is going to separate the few. And if you have the rest of these games like Kentucky, that eye test will separate you. If not, I don't think you get separated from the pack.
So you're saying there's a chance, right?
Small chance.
Small chance. I agree with you. I even think if Tennessee runs out at 6-2, I think there's going to be probably 2 or 3 teams ahead or tied, like a Georgia or somebody else. And so now you've got the Big Ten with a bunch of teams that could get in. You've got other conferences. You got the ACC that probably have 2 guys. So now all of a sudden, last year there was a better chance. I think you go 6-2, and I still think you have a challenge to get in, just because you're going to have an Alabama, Georgia, Texas A&M ahead of you. They're not going to pull 4 out of the SEC probably just because the other conferences are doing well.
And I think the one other thing is Florida's team is going to be playing for contracts for next year. So everybody's putting out tape to make more money for next year because their coach is leaving. So they've got a big motivation factor, a game like that. So back to you, John, but not great. Small
but there's
chances.
a chance. But there's a chance. You're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance.
All right, there is a chance. Those of you last week who said this team's underperforming, the 76% in our poll, you're listening to Will and Mike right now who say there's not much chance. The folks who said 38% are going 10-2 this year, you're listening to Ollie in that who thinks there's a little bit better chance than that. All right, thanks to those guys. When we come back, let's start looking at Oklahoma. Let's look ahead and do will they or won't they, some interesting stats about the Sooners, about the Vols, and what you can expect next Saturday night at Neyland Stadium. Come on back to the Sports Source. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Safety Systems. Man, are we behind. Okay, this is if you want safety systems, if you're looking for wired and wireless security systems, if you're looking for camera systems, gate and access control, they got it all. That's whether you're looking for your home or commercial security systems. They do those as well. You see their signs all over town. I've used these guys and known these guys for many, many things over many, many years. Call VFL JJ Surlis. He'll take care of you like he has me. Over the last 20 plus years, Safety Systems has just become the leader in security systems in East Tennessee. Give them a shout. Visit safetysystems.com. All right, we are going to have to race through this, gentlemen. My apologies. In Tennessee's last 9 home games inside the SEC, last 9 SEC home games, the Vols have averaged just 27 points per game in regulation, which surprised me. Will the Vols reach at least 30 points versus Oklahoma? Okay, we've got it's kind of a split panel there. Will, quickly, why no?
Their defense, their head coach, I mean, he put on a show last year against us coming out with new stuff. So I think you have to look at it and go, with that defensive line and that stuff, this is going to be a tight game. It's going to be hard to score points.
Josh, will Tennessee score 30?
I will say yes. Defensive points count?
Well, yeah, okay. Loopholes. All right, here we go. The Vols have given up 265 yards passing per game to Power 4 quarterbacks this year. That's the average. Will Oklahoma's John Mateer, and by the way, Cutter Boley last night threw for 330.
Yes.
Will Oklahoma's John Mateer, thank you, Chuck. Will Oklahoma's John Mateer throw for at least 290 versus Tennessee? Got a bunch of yeses. Sterling says no. How come he's not going to make it? You're believing in the Tennessee defense.
I'm believing in our D-line. I think our D-line is going to make some big plays and get some sacks and not get enough attempts to throw for that many yards.
Okay, all right. Good enough answer. I was afraid you were going to say, I think our secondary, and I was just going to stop you. All right, here we go. Number 3, Deshaun Bishop is averaging right at 100 yards per game versus 6 Power 4 opponents. But he's also been very up and down. It's 150 here, it's 50 there. It's not consistent. My question, will Bishop rush for at least 100 yards versus Oklahoma? Everybody says Bishop's going to go for 100 against Oklahoma.
Wow.
That
Okay,
would
I
be
disagree.
Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy
Yeah, I
disagrees.
don't know. He couldn't get that against Kentucky. And Oklahoma's got a much better run defense.
And I forgot to ask you on that one, so I'll ask Chuck. Yes. Would John Mateer throw for 290 against Tennessee?
Ooh. No, but I think just under.
Okay, last one.
I'll say no too because it'll be a lot more.
Okay. Oklahoma. Oklahoma's 29 sacks on the year, best in the SEC. They came into yesterday allowing the fewest passing yards in the SEC, but Ole Miss, Trinidad Chambliss threw for 315 yards. Okay. Will Joey Aguilar throw for at least 300 yards next Saturday? We got, ooh. And I was going to go to Mike Stoll because I thought he would say no. Okay, I've got to ask. Sterling says no. Joey Aguilar won't throw for 300.
I don't think he'll throw for 300. I think he'll do a nice, healthy 2 and some change like he's been doing. But I think the running game is going to definitely run time off the clock. And we're going to have a good running game against them guys Saturday. That's what I'm depending on.
Bob, will Joey Aguilar throw for 300 yards against Oklahoma?
I don't think so. I just think their defense is too good. Doesn't mean Tennessee's going to lose. Doesn't mean that he's going to have a bad game. No.
I think he better throw for 300. You're in trouble, in my opinion. When we come back, somebody had a real bad week in terms of the Beat the House segment. We'll get into that. We'll tell you who's alive, who's not alive, and we'll make our predictions for Oklahoma. Come on back. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Games and Things, OurGameRoom.com. Folks, they always have great deals going on there. They're the table capital of the world, whether it's table tennis, pool table, whether it's air hockey table, foosball table, or maybe you're looking for a pub table. They've got those as well. Games and Things, if you're looking for tables, they got them. Because life should be fun, visit OurGameRoom.com or visit them in their showroom on the corner of Kingston Pike and Lovell Road this week. Good people. All right, let's take a look at the Beat the House standings. It was a big week for everyone but Chuck. The casino took it in the shorts this week. As you can see, Bob Hodge still a commanding $400 lead over the rest of us who are just bunched together. Ollie did manage to stay alive, though he's at the bottom with 200. All right. And Chuck had a bad day at the casino. Yeah, look at that. Sad, just wandering alone through his own casino. Okay, Chuck, quickly. Need your prediction, probably 30 seconds here.
Okay. I tell you what, Oklahoma comes to town, you got to talk about their coach you have, Brent Venables. You got to talk about the quarterback, John Mateer. He's been kind of slowed with the thumb. This line opened close to a pick. I actually saw one earlier from Vegas. Tennessee at home at night, loser 3 losses, out of the playoff picture. I'm going to set it line at Tennessee favored by 6.5.
Okay, Vols minus 6.5. Bob, you go first. You're in first place.
I'm going to go 100 on Tennessee with no confidence in it.
100 on Tennessee. Boy.
I'll feel better again.
Crap, I need to go fast. I'll just, 200 on Tennessee, just solely because it's at home. Jimmy.
I got to catch Bob, 200 Oklahoma.
Ooh, 200 Oklahoma. Okay. Mike Stoll.
200 Oklahoma.
Negative, Mike.
Copycat.
They're gonna strip you of that old captaincy. I'll get Daniel and Marlon later. Josh Ward.
I think Tennessee's going to win. I think that's too many points, though. OU 200.
200.
Got to catch up somehow, John. I'm falling.
Yeah. Sterling.
Tennessee, see no baby, hot at 100. Let's go. Yes, sir.
Ollie Lane.
I'm going to take OU 100.
Oh, okay. 100. Oklahoma, that one split the panel. That's good. And Will Overstreet, we got your little hand trying to poke up through. You don't have money.
I'm all in, John. I'm all in. I'm going to take Oklahoma because I do think Tennessee's got a chance to win, but that's a lot of points in this kind of year.
6.5 is a lot of points. All right, very quickly, I want to do two things. One, I want to thank Mahesh Kreshan, who has been our director the last year, maybe a little bit longer. Thanks to Mahesh, he's done a great job. I appreciate it. He's moving on. So we will miss you. Thank you very much for all that you've given to the show. I appreciate you very much. And now, all right, I wanted everybody to rush. We got about a minute. Mike, you wanted to talk earlier. You got about 30 seconds here to wrap it up. You're really concerned about Tennessee's offensive line versus Oklahoma's defensive line.
I call it the game. Whoever wins that up front is going to win the game.
So it's the game within the game.
It's the game within the game. Don't worry about the DBs. Don't worry about the receivers. If the offensive line can protect, they're going to be fine. But I think OU is going to bring a lot of different things at them. That is the matchup that concerns me the most.
So games and things.
That's right. Yeah, perfect.
Well, the game within the game within the game.
Of things.
Oklahoma's offensive line is not very good.
Yeah, they had 2 true freshmen starting at tackles.
So
and
there is
Mateer
that.
looked a little iffy yesterday.
He
There were a
did,
couple of
yeah.
times where
Yes,
he
sir.
almost he wanted to throw the ball away,
Yeah.
and it almost turned into a fumble. It was not good.
for the hand.
Okay, thanks to all these folks. Thanks to all our sponsors. Thanks to you for watching. You make it go. We'll see you on the Saturday kickoff next week. We'll see you on the Sports Source Digital Network all week.
Go for the hand. Go for the hand. Hit the hand. Hit the hand.